Hello everybody and welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing the full tear down and reassembly of the Franchi Affinity Elite that I promised. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. I'm going to try to be doing this in backwards so you guys can see it a little bit easier. First things first, I'm just going to unscrew this little nut up here. I did just have this gun apart and cleaned it because the last day of season it was really raining a lot out. We did go out, got a couple ducks last minute. This won't just pull right apart like this with this being pulled back. So you have to release the bolt and then this will pop right off. Let's go ahead, finish disassembling the top portion. This plastic piece pops right off the forearm, and that is pretty much all there is to this. Of course you can unscrew the choke tube up here. I think everyone knows how to do that. That's pretty easy. So that is it for the barrel. Let's go ahead, finish with this bottom portion. Alright, so now we have to actually get the bolt out of here. Easiest way to do, depress this a little bit and pull this pin right out. So after you pull that out, everything will just slide right out of here. So I like to pull the bolt out, kind of set that off to the side. Pull this metal piece off here, and you can even pull the spring off of here as well. Oiled this up a little bit as well. There's a little bit of corrosion on it, so that is that. I'm going to save taking this bolt apart till the end a little bit later, so I can move the camera up a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and remove the trigger group now. I like to use the end cap off my Benelli Supernova. This is perfect size for this. The one that comes on the Franchi looks a little bit too large. There's one pin right here, so all you gotta do is shove that in, that pops out. So after you get that pin partially shoved out with that cap, you can usually go ahead and grab it down the other side. If you do need a little bit longer pin to shove this through, you're gonna have to use a different tool, maybe some needle nose, maybe a knife, to be able to shove that out of there. Alright, so that is it. There's only one pin holding in this trigger group, and this will slide right out of here now. You can pick this up, pull it out of the front, and that's all there is to it. That slides right out. Haven't really did too much tear down on this. I did clean it up pretty well, but you can kind of see how it works. Right now we're in safety, so if you switch it to fire and you pull the trigger, you can see the actually fire there, and this just gets cocked back. Pretty clean. Even after using it for the whole end of the season, there wasn't much debris in here. Wasn't very dirty. I'd say the dirtiest part was just maybe some powder that was not really burnt, kind of everywhere in here. And what you're left with in here on the inside, you can kind of take a look. All there is the bolt release over here on the side. Going to go ahead and pull the follower out. That's pretty easy. All you have to do is pinch right here, pull these together, and this will come right out of there. You have the plug, a spring, and then the follower down in here just to keep your shells in there. But that's all there is to this portion. I already did the shimming video, so if you want to see what's down here in the stock, make sure you watch that video and how to install the weight down here in this end as well. That is all there is in this portion. Let's go ahead and move on over to the actual bolt now. It's going to be a pretty comprehensive disassembly. So you got to pull this pin out right here. It's in there pretty good, but usually I hold in the firing pin here on the side, as well as pry this just slightly like that, and that comes right out of there. So you pull this pin out of here, and now this will, be careful with this because this spring loaded will come right out of here. So there's your firing pin, has the spring on here, and this pin seats right here and keeps that all together. Go ahead, set that on the side. Now to disassemble this, there's this little pin here. That will fall out. So if I shake this upside down, you can see that fall right out. You want to pay close attention to orientation here. See there's a little line on here. That line gets centered towards the back because that firing pin needs to go right through that hole there in the center. So we got that out. Now this will come out of there, and then the only last thing that's down here is the spring. So that is completely tore apart. You can see down in there, nothing left. This is all a solid piece. So that is the entire disassembly of this gun. Pretty easy, does not take very long to take apart. Now let's go ahead and put it all back together. I'm going to start down here with the bolt. I'm going to drop this spring back in. It doesn't look like there's a certain orientation this has to go in, so you should be fine there. This does have a certain orientation though. You don't want this half moon looking piece here though. You actually want it to be on this side. That's right where that pin is going to go in. Alright, so like I said, the orientation of this line right here on this pin, you want facing towards the back. Usually goes in pretty easy. Just kind of make sure that things are lined up there. And then you're going to shove your firing pin straight through there. Make sure it goes in really easy. And usually shove this all together with one hand and insert this pin on this side. So that's all back together. Functions good. Now we can go ahead and put together the rest of the gun. It's pretty much just do everything in reverse. I'm going to put the spring back on here. Alright, so that's all back on there. We'll put the firing trigger group back in here. This you do have to kind of start towards the front and then shove it back in. And then you actually do have to shove the bolt release in at the same time you're shoving this in here. You don't want to shove it too low, but it's actually going to slide right here in this groove. So right like that. Things are all lined back up. Now we're going to put this pin back in to lock everything back in place. So there's that one pin back in. Trigger groups all assembled back together now. We just have to put the bolt and the follower back in here. Usually like to put this black piece on front, get this all lined up right in here. You can see there's an area that has to slide into. It can't be up in here. There's just two metal grooves that it slides in right there, and that will slide up and down there. Now the bolt, you can kind of see there is a little area right in here. That is right where that is going to sit. So I usually insert that, kind of get everything lined up here, and there you can see there's a little notch cut out of this metal piece. That's right where that bolt is sitting. So everything's pretty well lined up in there now. Shove it in. Good. We're going to insert the handle in here. Keep everything secured in there. So that kind of stops things from going further. Lock it back. Now all we need to do is pretty much screw the barrel back on. So we're going to put this back on here. Like that. Looks pretty good. So you could try to assemble this with the bolt all the way back in that position, but it really doesn't ever like to go. So usually assemble this gun with this released all the way forward, and then things go together pretty good, like normal. And then once you get it to this position, you can see everything slides back down, and now you can pull that back and just put on the screw up top here. Kind of hear it clicking. That's when you know it's getting tight. Check for play. This is where you would see a little bit of gap here. Everything looks pretty good. Now it's just a matter of checking for function. Safety working good. The bolt release works good. Holding. Now the gun is unloaded. Let's go ahead, make sure that firing pin fires. Hear it click, locks back. Make sure everything's still tight, and it is. So there you have it, the full disassembly and reassembly of the Franchi Affinity Elite. Pretty simple gun. The inertia system is definitely working out really good for me. I definitely like how simple it is, how easy this is to clean as well. That's all there is to it. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. Always looking to my subscribers for suggestions, and what I see in the comments down below is usually what I'm doing videos on. Till then, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below.